Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me today. I am Ashley DePaulis. We are inside the Energy Body Club, and I notice I have my shadow with me always, right? It's always there. Can't ignore it. So today I'm going to bring you some body-based healing and mindful movement around stress because April is Stress Awareness Month. I talk a lot about, you probably hear my dog in the background. I talk a lot about stress, anxiety, performance, and how we can use our bodies to help relieve the stress and tension that we Sanders so often carry with us. So today I'm going to talk specific. Really? Can you guys hear that? Today I'm going to talk specifically about passive coping or passive stress relief strategies and active stress relief strategies, because a lot of times we unconsciously reach for the passive stress release strategies, and we really need to have both in our toolkit. I know so if you haven't heard my story before, and I'm not going to deep dive into it, the little pieces are that I lived with PTSD for 14 years without even knowing it. And a lot of times with my clients, what I find, even if they didn't have some big traumatic event occur in their life, like I did, I was in a really bad car accident when I was 19 and then had numerous other car accidents, but we all carry trauma within our bodies. That's where we live. So we have to use body-based healing to release it. So when I did not know that I was living with all that trauma, I would always reach, because I had an interest in this area. It's, where I studied and where I spent a lot of my time was in health and fitness. So I always reached to movement to get in my body, to feel good, to feel like myself. And while that was healthy in one regard, because it was really the only tool that I was utilizing, it led to a lot of exhaustion and burnout. I would actually use physical activity as a way to relieve so much stress that I became exhausted. Like that was where I noticed the pattern became maladaptive, so to speak. So stress, we can use it to our benefit, and we need there's a benefit to stress and tension and even agitation. Agitation is a powerful tool for me now to create, but it can also become maladaptive where it's leading to chronic health issues, where it's leading to burnout and exhaustion. So that's where we kind of don't want it to go. So a big thing that I always teach my clients is to, you've heard the phrase like listen to your body. If you've been in a fitness class, you've heard that. You've heard likely other people talk about listening to your body, and you're probably like, what the hell does that even mean? One way to begin listening to your body is through your breath, because your breath it cannot lie to you. It will show you through your patterns, because a lot of us, as we're going through our day, we don't even recognize how much we're holding our breath. So a simple thing that you can do is notice that pattern. And you can do that by setting an alarm on your phone, maybe 3 times throughout the day. If you want to just start with once a day, to when that alarm goes off, like, how am I breathing? It's usually a shallow breath. And so then you can shift into, okay, I'll take the next 3 minutes to actually breathe deeply into my sit bones, into my abdomen, into my chest, and notice where that breath doesn't want to go. So that's just tuning into the sensations of your body and into the sensations of your breath. You can also listen through movement like walking, where you might feel heavy on one side or leaning to one side. You can even notice this sitting in the chair at your desk. Where your body is holding tension. A lot of people always talk about the shoulders up in the ears. So through those tension patterns, you can begin paying attention. So those are just two easy access ways to begin listening and paying attention and noticing your patterns, because when we have awareness around these things, it's a lot easier to disrupt them. So what does all this have to do with your success, your performance? Well, anytime we're coming up against our edge or our fears, our insecurities, maybe we're going in for a job promotion, maybe it's something else, but we'll just go with a job promotion for now. Your pattern of thought and your pattern of holding tension in your body or holding your breath, those two are going to meet. So one does not exist without the other. So if you want to disrupt it so that you can go in feeling confident, you can drop some of those nerves, that's why it's important to pay attention to these things. So I wanted to speak to active versus passive. So passive coping skills for stress and anxiety are activities that get you out of your head. So I'll always hear from people like, I'm in my head all the time. I can't get out of my head. So that's why a lot of times these passive coping mechanisms like scrolling or exercise or listening to a podcast, listening to something uplifting, or even reading can help us get out of our heads and stop really like focusing on what's stressing us out. So we need those. So we know that some of those are healthier than just scrolling on the phone, which creates comparisonitis a lot of times if you're on social media. So we need those, but we also need active coping skills so that we can actually help manage, adapt, and problem solve our stresses. So that speaks to some of the listening skills that I spoke to at the beginning of this live stream. So ways in which we can adapt these skills, one through the listening. So that would be mindfulness, meditation, breathing, which I mentioned, journaling. It could be talking to a friend, speaking to a therapist. Another way is through building habits. So the thing that I like to share around building healthier habits for ourselves is what's called habit stacking. So that means like we all brush our teeth in the morning, that's already a habit. You don't even have to think about it. So it would be adding your new habit right after a habit that's already instilled. So that's what habit stacking means. And only do this like one habit at a time. Let it marinate for at least 2 weeks. So that you're not trying to do everything all at once. You want it to be tiny, sustainable, so it actually becomes a habit. So those are ways in which we can manage our stress and anxiety, and we can, in a healthy way, adapt to it and recognize it and give it voice and acknowledgement and problem solve around it. So a lot of times when we're just passively dealing with stress, we are not in the center of our brain that helps us problem solve. So we have to do something active to bring us to the problem solving part of our brain so that we can make better decisions for ourselves. So yes, it's wonderful to get out of your head. The way we do that is to get into our body. So if you need that passive piece, like I shared, I would often reach towards exercise. And then from there, you can implement active stress coping skills. So through exercise, that would be the listening, the breathing piece, Maybe you take it a step further and journal after the experience just about your day, having gratitudes mixed in there. So, you know, all the things, but I wanted to bring awareness to these different strategies and skills so that you can see, I always reach for this one. How can I add a little more of that one? Or maybe there's strategies a lot of times there are things we need to remove, like the endless scrolling on social media, so that we can implement in that place the more healthy skills. So I wanted to leave you with that today. Thanks for being with me. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and please subscribe to the Energy Body Club. Bye for now.